Start. Okay, so the hour being 7:31 p.m. The Board of Pharmacy, the Board of Health, would like to start the meeting for the August 13, 2024 Board of Health meeting. So our first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. And I have a couple of comments. If anyone else, would anyone else?
The only thing I saw was that Richard is both absent and present.
That was one of my comments.
Yeah,
That was one of mine.
Okay, so
perfect. We'll make that change.
You got that, Megan?
Yes, we have it.
Okay, great. And the second thing that I'm not sure about, like the under motion for the 272, 274 South Street. Okay, so he entertained the motion. We usually, say we don't usually approve the plan. We just say no specific comments at the time being, but it looks like especially it says it's reiterating the comments from let me just grab it on my iPad real quick. See, that's what happens when I don't have work. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's sad that we saw this from the November 16, 2021 meeting, during which we approved the plan. I don't think we usually approve plans, right, Melissa?
So I'd have to look back. I don't have it right in front of me. I can look back. If it was a definitive plan, then we would have to either approve or deny it. But yeah, you are correct. Normally we'd just be making comments on it. So I can look into that.
Okay.
And then I guess what we would do is if it was based off of a definitive plan, then we would say, obviously we're reiterating because it was approved, but then obviously if it wasn't based off of a definitive plan, then we'll just remove that approves and just add in our comments. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yep. Yes.
Perfect.
Any board member have any additions, any changes, any amendments to the minutes? Anyone would like to entertain a motion?
I was not here, so
I can entertain a motion.
Okay.
Oh,
no, go ahead.
Okay. So I'll entertain emotion in regards to the minutes from the July 16th, 2024 meeting. The Board of Health approves the minutes as amended. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and I'll start with a vote. Brenda?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
And did I hear Stefan?
do I abstain, right? Because I wasn't here.
So with the minutes, if you're not present, you can vote if you want to, but you can abstain if you just don't feel comfortable because you weren't present. It's completely the person's choice as to whether or not they want to.
If I abstain, it will still pass, right?
It will, correct, because there was 3 members present.
I will abstain then. Thank you.
Okay. The minutes being entertain a motion and approved and seconded. Then we can move to the next item on the agenda.
Real quick, Mona, before we move on, I just want to, before we kind of keep going with the meeting, introduce Josh to the meeting, obviously. Josh, it's a very open and informal session, so obviously any questions you have, feel free to jump in. But I just didn't want to know, I wanted to know and introduce Josh. So Josh has over 15 years of experience in the environmental field. I know, Josh, you sat in on one of our meetings, I believe it was last year. Rich roped you into sitting in, and we are grateful that you are joining in as an associate board member, but wanted to give you a minute or two have the floor. And again, as questions arise, you obviously know Rich's information. You can reach out to me. You'll realize that the board views many different applications with many different topics. Tonight are two plans that we did see at our most recent meeting in July. That being said, we've done green burials, we've done animal permits, site plan approvals, swimming pool variances. So you name it, we've probably reviewed it. Some meetings are quick, some meetings are longer, and a little bit more interesting. So I'll give you a second just to introduce yourself, Josh. And again, if you have any questions, the door is always open.
Yeah, great. I really appreciate it. And thanks for the intro to the team. Yeah, so as you mentioned, I sat in on a meeting, a year or two ago. It was definitely interesting. Just kind of fell off my radar. And then, I moved from Takeda where I worked with Rich. And recently he reached out to me and said, you need to come join the board. And I didn't really have any good reason not to. So I've been in Walpole for about as long as I've been in EH&S. So about 15, 16 years here. So kind of excited to be a little bit more involved in the town and what we're doing. So thank you, everybody.
Welcome and thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
The Board of Health. Josh, very nice meeting you.
You
Very
as well.
nice background.
Thanks.
You still work with Takeda?
I don't know. So I actually I left Takeda back in November. And then real quick history, I joined another company that I used to work with the guy there who recruited me to head the EHS department. 3 weeks later, they laid off 25% of the staff. So that was fun. But I rebounded and I'm up at Curia in Burlington. It's a CDMO. So
Well, best of luck
thank
with the
you.
new position.
Thanks.
And please feel free to reach out to any one of us in case you have any questions or concerns. And welcome again to the Board of Health.
Thank you.
So, we'll entertain, well, actually, let's move to the first item on the second item on the agenda, which is the 272, 274 South Street site plan approval and special permit. So I see they added they registered.
Yep. Yeah. So just to kind of get everyone up to speed, I know we just saw this, but it's currently a landscaping company and they're constructing an additional building at the rear of the site with additional outdoor storage and parking, stormwater to mitigate the existing runoff. It's going to utilize town water and town sewer. So we saw this at our last meeting in July, where the board voted unanimously to reiterate the comments that they approved the plan, as well as making sure that the applicant registers any toxic and hazardous waste by filling out a toxic and hazardous waste permit with the department. In the updated plan to us, they did include a list of the hazardous materials, and then some small labeling changes, as well as some revisions to the stormwater management report based on the comments from the town engineer. So here is the existing site.
Okay,
with
so
the
they
existing-
registered all the toxic.
Yeah. So they listed out all of the materials they're going to have on site. So obviously they do trigger the need for a toxic hazardous permit because they're meeting that over 50 gallons of hazardous material. So they did list it out. So they will have to file the permit with us, which goes over how they store it, who they have on site, how they're trained to manage these hazardous materials, what's their emergency plan in case they have spills, things like that. So pretty minor changes from what we last saw last month.
Any additional comments from any board members in this regard?
No,
Okay, since
I'm glad we have this sheet.
Okay.
I'm glad we asked.
Right, so anyone would like to entertain a motion?
I can entertain a motion in regards to site plan special permit for 272 to 276 South Street, Walpole, Mass. The board has no additional comments. And is this an approval?
No, this is just a site plan, so it doesn't need a yes or no definitively.
Okay, so just
Okay.
no additional comments.
Can we just like reiterate what we, the comments that we mentioned in our last meeting? Which they're going, you know, they're already applying to register the toxic and hazardous waste, right?
Yep.
Okay, do I hear say?
I can second.
Okay, so motion made and seconded. I'll make the vote. Start with Stefan,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
Brenda,
Aye.
and I myself. So it's the vote is 4-0-0 unanimous. Is this how it goes?
Correct, yes.
Right, so let's move to the next item on the agenda, which is the site plan approval for 383 Fisher Street.
Yep, so just to remind everyone, I know we just had this one last month, but this is an existing single-family home, but they will be converting the existing two-car garage to make a meeting area for a proposed church. It includes approximately 12 parking spaces, as well as a new one-way entrance, and it will utilize town water and town sewer. We last saw this project at the July 16th meeting, and the board voted unanimously that they have no concerns at this time. And again, the proposed changes are very minor. They had to provide the fire department the fire truck access plan. They had to change some minor signing in the parking lot, as well as some removal of some dead trees from the property. So you can see here is the plan. So the existing house, this is the garage they're converting. You can see the parking plans here with the one-way entrance and exit. Again, the trees they're proposing to remove now. The pool they're going to fill in for the project.
Is there any like trash requirements for this facility?
Right.
So we did speak with the individual, one of the individuals for this church. He did come in to discuss. So since it is going to still be zoned as a single family, it is still going to fall under our trash contract. So we talked to him, and as long as they're meeting our trash regulations, which our limit is 210 gallons every week. So as long as they're not exceeding that, then they are fine to still continue putting out curbside pickup since they will be zoned appropriately for that. However, should they exceed the trash limit, that 210 gallons, they are responsible for privately paying for the remainder of that pickup.
How is that monitored? Just out of curiosity.
Like if they were to go over that 210 gallons.
Yeah.
So this happens pretty regularly. We have a really good relationship with the route supervisor over at Boston Carting. A lot of times he'll send us pictures if there are properties that are continuously over the limit. So ultimately the guys who are out on the trucks make the call of if it's to that 210, and if it is, then they take what they can, what's allowed, and they leave behind what they're once they've met their max.
Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah, so if we were to get repeated, notification from the route supervisor, at that point we would step in and say, you need to have either a private pickup or a dumpster on site, or to mitigate those concerns.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I'm pleased that the applicant added the fire truck access to the plan, which we totally missed last meeting. Plus with the parking lot signage and removal of the dead trees from the property. So do we need, since I mean, they are making the parking lot bigger, right? So that's not going to affect any access to any other, you know, like vehicles, like the trash removal vehicles, right?
So they'd be curbside pickup, so the owner would be responsible for putting their pickup in their barrels and or bins curbside. So realistically the trash truck would not be entering that parking lot. They'd be pulling up, grabbing the bins and barrels and then moving along. They wouldn't be entering that parking lot.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Any comments or concerns from any board members? Okay, so no comments. Would someone like to entertain a motion? I can make a motion in regards to the 383 Fisher Street site plan approval. The Board of Health has no comments at this time and is pleased to see that the applicant added 5 truck access to the plan with parking lot signage and removal of dead trees from the property. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. I'll make a vote. I'll start with Rachel,
Aye.
Brenda,
Aye.
Stefan,
Aye.
and I myself. And the vote being 400 unanimous. Any other subjects or items that we need to address this meeting?
Sure. So just
Melissa?
2 quick updates, not on the agenda. So I wanted to update the group. I know I let the board know back in April that the health department, along with collaboration with police, schools, and a lot of other key stakeholders, applied for the drug-free community grant, which is $125,000, if awarded $125,000 per year for 5 years, with the potential of additional 5 years. So I heard on Friday, not that we got it, but I heard on Friday that there was a call today, which I did jump on, and it's through CDC. And the call was for applicants that were deemed eligible. So this is like a step in the right direction. The call was just to kind of say your application has been considered, it has met the criteria. So hopefully we'll hear soon. The start of the fiscal year for that budget for that grant is September 30th. So we'll definitely know by then, but hopefully even sooner than that. And again, what this would do would allow the health department to hire a full-time individual to do youth substance prevention work. So right now, the coalition that is under the health department, with collaboration with police and the schools, it's kind of myself, police chief, superintendent of schools, school lead nurse, a collaboration. We work with the Norfolk DA's office, but to have that person sitting at the table and being so involved would be just absolutely amazing. So fingers crossed. Again, if it goes the other way and we weren't to get it, we did 9 months of legwork and we really covered so much ground that I wouldn't be, I don't think reapplying would be not as anywhere near difficult as it was to initially apply. So we would definitely go that route, but fingers crossed we get it the first time. If not, again, we would plan to apply next spring. But I wanted to give the board an update on that. As soon as I hear more, I'll definitely share with the board. And then the last item is mosquitoes. I'm sure you're hearing on the news, EEE, West Nile virus. Right now, Walpole is still at a low risk. That being said, mosquitoes, they travel obviously town and city lines. So even though Walpole technically on the MAP DPH map is saying we're low risk, definitely I want to spread obviously education to those in the community. Mosquitoes are out there, obviously. West Nile EEE is out there as well. You want to make sure that you're using mosquito repellent with DEET. You want to make sure that you have screens in your windows, that you remove any standing water that could potentially be around your home. Norfolk County Mosquito Control, I know a couple of the board members were fortunate to go over and visit. If you haven't visited and you're interested in, Josh, we have a great collaboration with the Norfolk County Mosquito Control Project. A lot of people are unaware that they exist, and they actually work in Walpole. They work for the Norfolk County communities, but they're actually housed in Walpole. I can definitely set you up with the director, Dave. He's amazing, wealth of knowledge, but they do go out and they spray streets within Walpole every Tuesday. So you can check the Norfolk County Mosquito Control website, see if your street's on the list. If not, you can put your name on the list. Again, this isn't like a protective shield and then you're good to go and you can, walk around with your t-shirt and no insect repellent. It's sprayed, it pretty much hits 100 feet. It's from the street. It does dissipate, so it gets obviously what's in the air at that time. So we still recommend, other preventative mechanisms on your own end, obviously, and that's done on a weekly basis. So I just wanted to put a little plug in there for that. Make sure people are, reminded by it. Obviously, unfortunately, the days are getting shorter. It's getting darker earlier. There's a lot of sports, a lot of outdoor activities taking place. We do work with Norfolk County Mosquito Control to have the areas sprayed, the fields and things like that, but just so people stay on their guard and are aware of everything going on. And I'll make sure I keep the board aware if our risk levels do change at all.
Great, thank you very much for the update, Melissa. One question though, any resident can call the Norfolk County Mosquito Control and have them come and spray the area, or just residents living right across from a wetland?
No, so that's for any resident. You can go on their website and request service, or you can call them. So that's any resident, and you can actually check the map, and the map will show where they actively go every Tuesday.
Yeah, I have used their services myself.
And they do, and Mona, just so you know, and I'm sure you're aware from doing the visit as well. I mean, they start as early as April and they're doing larvicide, they're doing aerial sprays. Right now they're past the larvicide management, but they're doing barrier sprays. So more obviously in trees, bushes, and they do double down on the swamp areas and the conservation.
Yes, they do.
Where you're more readily available to have mosquitoes.
I was very impressed with our visit when we went to see them. When was it again? Was it last fall that we went?
I think it was last fall. I think we did about 2 visits. But again, I can always schedule. Dave's amazing. It's one of those things where it's fascinating to think that mosquitoes are fascinating, but the thousands that they collect on a daily basis and then they send them to the state. And then that's when it trickles down to the local level and we get the alert saying, a West Nile positive mosquito has been found in Walpole, Norwood, and then that's how the risk levels change. But even if you're interested, if you go on the Mass Department of Public Health website and just the mosquito mapping, it will show the map of the Massachusetts, and then it breaks it down by risk level. So if there was a mosquito in a community found with Tripoli or West Nile directly abutting Walpole, that would change our risk level.
Right. So please keep us posted, and best of luck for the grant. Hopefully we'll get it in September.
Yes, thank you. And then last order of business is just, we'll go back to our meeting twice a month. So we are meeting September. We have the first and third Tuesdays of the month that typically work. We had been doing the summer schedule. We were doing 1 remote, 1 in person. I leave it up to the board to make that decision if we're doing both remote or if we want to do the first one and then play the second one by ear. It's up to the board.
Any comments from the board members?
Why don't we do the first one and see how everyone's schedule is going to work out?
I mean, I personally like the convenience of just having the meeting comfort of my own home. But if
I do too.
Prefer in person, that's fine. So we'll do the first meeting, which is on September 3rd, Zoom. And then we'll decide what we're going to do the next meeting.
That sounds good.
Okay, great. All right. Any other items or anything?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, so since we are done with our items, the Board of Health would like to adjourn. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Any second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Adjourn, motion made and seconded. Thank you very much, everyone. And
wait, Mona, go around and do a roll call.
Oh, okay. I'll start with Stefan.
Aye.
Rachel.
Aye.
Brenda.
Aye.
And I myself. Okay.
Perfect.
Well,
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks,
Everyone.
everyone.
See you in
Take care.
September.
Have a good night.